Welcome to the Lips and Language podcast. My name is Cola, where we talk about life, love, and language. Remember to subscribe, like, and share. Let's get into today's. Can we talk about the grief on the journey? Can we talk about we're all headed somewhere in life? Some of us are on our way to a new place, a new job, starting a business. Some of us are just trying to pay the bills, but we're all on a journey in life. And the one thing we don't often talk about is the grief that happens on that journey. The failures of not hitting where we wanted to hit, not being where we wanted to be, and experiencing life differently than what we thought it would be. A lot of us make plans for our lives. We say, by 25, we'll be married with kids. And then life happens and it throws it off track. And what do we do when our plans get interrupted? What do we do when life is lifing and the things that we wanted, we see, but it's like in a distant future? Do we give up? Do we try again? What do we do? And I think often in society, we're such a part of a culture that is like, go, 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 forward, 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 push through it. And yes, absolutely push through it. But what about taking the moment to grieve what you thought something was? To grieve an expected outcome so that you can release it, readjust, and start again. On this journey of being here, on this journey of leaving from one place to another, all last week or the last 2 weeks I've been talking about faith is big in mountains, and this journey that I had started, that God had put me on, and all the ups and downs and emotions that came with it, and the pivoting, and there's been a lot, and even still there's more. Because I'm in this space where I'm like learning as I go, and I need to train and study and be quick with it and observant, and there's friends are changing, and there's so many things happening in life. Sometimes we forget to grieve the things that we thought it would be. Like when I talked about moving to Los Angeles, and now although I'm still going, it's just I'm going a different way. And I had to take time to grieve what that looked like, to grieve the fact that I'm not going there right away, to grieve the fact that the ideas and thoughts that I had were not that. But what about just in a regular life? What about when we want a job and we apply for it and we don't get it? And the disappointments that come, if we don't release those things, if we don't grieve the rejection part of it, we live with that. We take it with us, and it literally starts to build like this molehill, and this molehill eventually turns into this mountain. And with this mountain, we then feel like it is impossible to get through it, because every time we try to do this, every time we try to do that, something always happens, and it builds another mountain, another giant thing to come through. And before we know it, we're at the bottom in the valley, standing and looking up at all these mountains and saying, God, this is impossible. But let me remind you that there's nothing impossible for God. And this is not just a God conversation. This is in general. There is nothing impossible when we set our hearts and minds to it, and we know that it's what we're meant to do. Like some people, they put their hearts and minds, but it's in the wrong area. It's in the wrong focus. They weren't supposed to be there. It's not going to work. But when we go to the path that we're meant to be on, and I know we're like, how do we know? There's a lot of indicators throughout life, things that we love to do, things that we're passionate on, things that we really just, it gets a hold of us. There's markers along the way that show us where we're supposed to be, the little things that bring us joy that we don't think of. A lot of people who are entrepreneurs or who are part-time artists, they're like, it was in the little things that I found joy and I pursued that. Instead of just pursuing what life says, instead of just pursuing what's in front of us. People are like, you know what, I'm going to pursue the things that make me happy. And in doing so, they open themselves up to being on the path that they're meant to be. There's many people who, okay, because of family traditions, they stick to being a lawyer or a doctor, but they find the most joy in being a dancer or some of those other things. And it's not always the easiest journey to walk, but for the most part, it is the most fulfilling. It is the one that gives your spirit the jolt of happiness to be doing not just what you have to do, but be doing what you were called to do. We never know who we are meant to inspire. We never know who we're meant to be a voice to until we step out in faith and do the things that hurts us the most, or the things that we're the most afraid of sometimes. And it's not a conversation on like feel the fear and do it anyways. It's not that. Put away fear. Like, we do not need to entertain fear at all. But it's a conversation of going after the things that we think might be impossible. And then when we get them, we realize just how possible it truly was. But on this journey of life, and when life gets you down and the disappointments, we have to feel those things. We have to acknowledge them. We can't just pretend like they didn't happen and that they don't exist. We truly have to take it up and be like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to get through it. This is how we're going to make a difference. Because if we don't, like I said, it's just going to stay inside our bodies. It's just going to stay kind of like in the back of our minds bothering us. And over time, that thing becomes hard, like a callus, and it becomes really difficult to get through. And then it's always those moments we don't really notice it, but over time, okay, kind of like weight. Sometimes people don't really realize the weight that's being added because it's added a little bit at a time. And then one day they wake up and they're like, whoa, where did all this weight come from? Well, it was added over time. That's the same thing like failure, rejection, hurt, abandonment. If it's not addressed in the moment, over time it builds. And when it builds, it comes to destroy. And it comes as a blockage, and it comes to really stand in the way of where you're meant to be or what the things that you're trying to do. And so there's beauty in acknowledging grief. There's beauty in acknowledging that, hey, I really wanted this thing to happen in this timing. It didn't happen. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen, but it didn't happen in this moment. And I'm okay with that. And I can release it. And I am okay acknowledging that I'm sad about it. I'm okay acknowledging that it hurt me. I'm okay acknowledging that it was something that I actually really wanted and I got excited about. But now, how do I then pivot? How do I then remain excited even in the downfall? I think that's the thing. People don't know how to remain excited even when things go left. Because when things go left, sometimes it really feels like, man, that was a lot. That was overwhelming. That almost took me out and I don't want to try again, right? But when you think of babies, what if babies just said, I tried walking, it hurt, I didn't really feel for it, I didn't really like it, so I'm not gonna. Then they would never learn how to walk. We would never know how to walk if we gave up. And this is why a lot of the times they say kids are so precious, because they're so resilient. They ask the hard questions. They ask the questions that people are embarrassed to ask. And kids try and try again. Now, sometimes it takes some encouragement and some guidance from their parents. But, I mean, that's what us as parents are here for. But eventually, when they keep trying, they're successful. And sometimes as we get older, we kind of lose that childlike faith, that childlike belief that if I just keep trying, it's going to work. As we age, we're like, oh, society's telling us, give up, stop trying. It's too hard. You have too many things to focus on. You got to focus on work. You got to focus on this. You don't have all this extra energy to be putting towards all those other things. And really, truly, we just need to get our minds so fixed on the results, so fixed on it's going to work. I'm going to be happy, and just that joyful feeling. So in the moments when we feel down, one of the best things that I've been doing for myself is I've been envisioning what it's going to feel like when I get it. I've been allowing myself to feel, oh, it's going to be fun. Oh, it's going to be joyful. Oh, I'm going to smile. and holding on to that feeling instead of the sadness. I switch it out. I can't, I acknowledge the sadness. I'm like, cool, we're sad, got it. But then I have to switch it out for something happy. Because the way sadness works is if you let it sit and fester, it, like, you heard that saying, misery loves company. It will find reasons to be miserable. It'll find reasons to be sad. It'll find reasons to continue building a pity party, and it'll invite friends to the pity party, called depression, called grief, called oppression, like so many other things. And when we turn it around, when we pivot and we say, you know what, I'm not going to take that. I want to do the opposite of that. Then it gives us hope to keep journeying. It gives us hope to try again. It gives us hope that not all is lost and that we can surely be greater than what it is that we thought was going to take us out. And we really strive for better. I really wish people understood in this life, if we understood that the world was at our footstool and that we can command things to happen, we have authority in this land, that we don't have to let circumstances overtake us, but we overtake it. Man, the life that we would live would be so much greater. And that's not even just saying you would all be millionaires. I'm saying that even when you had little in your hands, you would just be happy and content. Because you know that you have joy, you know that you've overcome, you know that you have beat the odds, and that where you're standing is such a beautiful place to be. It may be better than where you came from, even if it's not the big things yet, but you'll look back and say, you know what, I did that, I didn't give up, and I kept pushing. And so acknowledge the little things on the journey. Acknowledge the moments that get you sad. Acknowledge the disappointments. Acknowledge all of that. But just don't stay there. I know we've had this conversation before. I know you've probably heard this a million times from people, but that's because it's true. Really, truly. When you start hearing things a lot that it becomes so annoying to you, that's when you like, you know what, I need to get this into my system. I need to get this into my mindset. I need to get this into my nature, so that when things happen, it's second nature. I know it. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes we're like, oh, we already know this. But like when we get in the middle of a disappointment or a tragedy, we forget everything we learned. That's the reason, is because it wasn't ingrained in us. We only learned it on the surface, but we didn't let it get deep roots inside of us. Instead, we let unforgiveness and bitterness and anger, those things take root. But the things that we're supposed to take root of, we kind of just like brush it out, like, I already know that. No, this conversation is necessary, because disappointments are going to come time and time again. And we have to always remind ourselves that it is not just something that we're just meant to just like brush past. It is something that we're meant to acknowledge, take a moment, take a pause, regroup, recalibrate, and then set back off on sail. The journey is not over, and the journey won't be over until Jesus comes back. Until then, we have to figure out how to live in this life. We can't allow it to overtake us, because that's when suicidal thoughts and thoughts of like life is over come in. We really have to allow ourselves to explore the different options of possibilities, explore the different moments that we're going to have, explore the different seasons of trials. But when we get there, when we go through the trials and we overcome and we come out on the other side, we will have grown so much spiritually, mentally, that honestly, it wouldn't even matter. Like, it's almost like we're preparing for the next battle, and the next battle, and the next battle. Life is not all one big easy lap. I'm not saying it's hard, because I don't believe in the word hard, to be honest. I know it's a word. I'm just, when we start to speak, if you remember, death and life is the power of the tongue. And so the things that we speak, we will see. If we start saying this is hard, this is hard, this is hard, hard means to be like unmovable. It's, you know, like it just doesn't, it's in your way. And I don't believe things are hard. I believe things can be challenging. It can challenge us. It can definitely test our patience, test our joy, test our thoughts, all of that. But see, with challenges, there are solutions to it. There are ways to get through. There are ways to get to the other side. There are ways to not allow it to overtake us. There are ways that we can be better than we ever thought. There are ways that we can pull ourselves together. And it also helps with having a great community around us. That when they see that we start to pity party, or we're starting on this journey of grief over the things that we lost, they respect us enough to allow us some time to process it, but they don't allow us to stay there because they know that like it is not fruitful, it is not useful to allow us to go on a journey with grief in a way that only ends in sorrow, in a way that only ends in us being mad at the world or mad at the situations. If we lose a job, we'll get another one. If we're delayed in leaving, there'll be another time. There'll be another opportunity. If we lose a contract, there'll be another moment. We all know this, yes. So we don't let it overtake us. I pause because I'm like, yeah, it's true. But we don't let it overtake us. We don't let the situations overtake us. There is real grief on this journey. That was the whole point of this. There's real grief on this journey. But it's how we answer to it. It's how we overcome it. It's how we set our minds onto something different that will choose a better outcome for us. I know we all, well, not all, but maybe you have met a person who, like, there's always something going on. They're always sad. There's always this, there's always that. And they're always like, man, what was me? What was me for this? What was me for that? It's always like they're complaining. Instead of complaining, just thank God that we made it out. Thank God that we made it through. And thank God that we get another chance. There are so many people, I don't know if I don't watch the news, but I've been seeing there's so many people who are passing away. Celebrities, influencers. There's so many poor people. Like, there's so many different range of people who are passing away. And it's a reminder that life is not, it is not for certain. That you can be here today, gone tomorrow. And there's something so beautiful in that, and yet for a lot of people scary in that. It's scary when you don't know Jesus, to be honest. When you know Jesus, life here today and gone tomorrow means you're in heaven, you're chilling, you're happy, you're with God, you're with your Father. But for those who don't know him, I can understand why it'd be a scary thought, because you don't know where you're going to go. You don't know what happens after. You don't know what's next. The best thing in life we can do is to love. Love ourselves, love our neighbors, love our life, love our situations, no matter how challenging they may be. And even love, not the grief, but love the journey that we're on. Acknowledge the grief, but love the journey. So that's it. That's all I got today. It was a thought that really came to me as I'm walking through this journey myself. I'm just encouraging myself to not get down and out about the things that haven't worked out yet, knowing that it is just a matter of time and it's about to break and everything is about to happen, but making sure that I'm acknowledging that things didn't work out and not just brushing past it, because I do not want that anywhere in my body, building up defenses against me, getting ready to take me out one day. Like, it'll be like that one last thing, and that'll be like the straw that broke the camel's back, as they say. I don't want that. Not for me, not for you, not for anybody. We are stronger when we put our minds towards Jesus, but we are stronger when we know that life will get better. We are stronger when we know that we are overcomers, and it's just a matter of time before it all changes. One person, one decision, one prayer can make all the difference. So y'all be blessed. Have an amazing day. This week we're going to talk about in and out grief and different things. But I talk as the Lord leads me. And so I'm interested to see what this week's going to be about. We'll talk again soon. Have a good day. Hey, thank you so much for listening to the Lips and Language podcast. My name is Cola. I am so excited that you are here. If anything I said today resonated, then get in touch with me. I have an amazing mentorship program. It is for those who feel misunderstood, overwhelmed, going through grief. It is truly an amazing time. If you want more info, hit my website, lipsandlanguage.com. And if you want to get in touch with me, you can hit it up on the website or DM me. I have a free gift for you, and I would love to be in contact with you. Whatever you decide, just know that healing, it looks good on you. And I'm so excited that we get to do this journey together. Have a blessed day. And if nobody told you, I will. I love you. Enjoy your day, and we'll talk soon. Peace.